Usually, viewers, you don't see my notes, but because we're doing we're doing a video today that's outside. A lot of it is outside of my personal knowledge, so that's why I have notes.
A lot of notes.
A lot of notes. It's going to be a longer video, so
yes.
There we are. Welcome to London. Hello and welcome to the History Lord. You join me here at my house, and I'm actually joined in front of the camera today with James. Say hello, James.
Hello, James.
Comedy moment.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about Denmark Street. It's a video we've been wanting to do for quite a long while, isn't it?
Quite a while, yeah.
Yes.
I think it was one of the initial things we talked about doing, I think.
Yes, it was. Tin Pan Alley or Denmark Street. We'll come to why it was called Tin Pan Alley later on, but did you know, James, that Denmark Street was actually on land that was owned by St Giles, the hospital that was a leper hospital for many years. And St Giles Hospital, I believe, was the first hospital to see a plague case in the 13th century, and the last plague case in about 1797 that was caught in this country.
Oh, right.
It's a very strange place, but there you are. The actual street itself was recorded in about 1612, I think, and I think some of the houses that are still there, about 20 houses were built between 1683 and 1691. And I think about 4 or 5 of those houses still exist today. It housed a few notable people, probably people you've never heard of, but they were notable at the time. One of them was Dr. John Purcell, who was a London physician, and he published a treatise of vapours or hysteric fits, and he lived at number 10.
Yeah, I've read that.
You read that? Is it a great
read? Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Later in the 18th century, the Jacobite Sir John Murray lived there until the day he was carried off by a party of strange men.
Oh.
Probably not the first time a party of strange men has carried people off in Soho, but there you are. Now, there is a blue plaque there as well that commemorates the house of Augustus Sebe. Do you know what he pioneered?
Well, I do, because I've just read it. But,
I'm glad you're reading stuff now, yes.
Yeah.
You see?
The diving helmet.
He did. He invented the diving helmet. Obscure place to invent something like a diving helmet, which is, the Thames is the closest you get.
Yeah, I mean, did he test it out in the Thames? I think that's a video all in itself at some point,
I think it must be. So there we are. So watch this space. There might be a Augustus Sebe, the pioneer of the diving helmet, the video to come. Now, the area around there at St Giles is known as the Rookery, and it was full of slums and really nasty places to go. And we did a video about St Giles, about Seven Dials, didn't we?
7 Dials, yeah.
7 Dials, and that was part of the Rookery that was demolished.
That'll be up in a corner somewhere
that
for you
will
to
be,
click
yes.
on.
It was actually described as the Pandora's box of pollution, plague and pestilence. But it was redeveloped in the 19th century, and Denmark Street was laid out much as we know it today. Back in the 19th century, though, the street started being used for commercial enterprises, so the lower ground floors were turned into shops, particularly metalwork for some strange reason. Metalwork was quite big around there, and I suppose that's why Augustus Sebe had his workshop there.
It's all starting to add up now.
And I think it was 1930s that lots of Japanese shops and industries moved in there, and it became known as Little Japan or Little Tokyo. But then it became part of the music industry.
Yes.
Now, as we've seen before, dear viewer, music is not my forte.
No.
But it is yours.
Well,
sort of.
Apparently.
Apparently it is. So, go on.
Lawrence Wright was the first music publisher to set up in Denmark Street, and he did that in 1911.
Okay.
And he was initially based at number 8, but he moved to number 11 after the First World War. He founded the musician's journal Melody Maker in 1926.
I have seen it. I've never read it. I've seen it.
I don't really know what it is. I've never seen it before, but I'm
Melody
sure...
Maker was like the New Music Express. It was the enemy of its time.
Right, okay, that makes sense. And the same year, another publisher, Campbell Connolly, moved from their original offices in Tottenham Court Road to Denmark Street.
Oh, right, okay.
And the New Musical Express that you just mentioned was founded at number 5 in 1952, and it remained there until 1964.
Oh, right, okay. I do believe that they're now only online. I don't think they publish it anymore. I think they're only online now.
Yeah, I think you might be right, yeah.
I did a promotion for them a few years ago for a film that came out. Yeah, just throw my notes on the floor. I spent minutes writing those.
Larry Parnes was a successful manager and entrepreneur of pop singers during the mid-1950s, and he regularly took material from the songwriters and publishers that were based in Denmark Street. Lionel Bart.
Oh, Oliver. And what else did he write? He had one of the West End failures. He wrote Twang as well.
Oh, Twang! I've never heard of that one.
It's about Robin Hood, but Oliver.
Oliver
opened in 1960, and Harry Seacombe and Ron Moody, and I think it won the Oscar as well for best film in '68.
Yes, it did.
Yes,
Carol Reed.
Carol Reed, yes.
Yeah, so Lionel Bart started his writing career for publishers and was known as the King of Denmark Street.
Was he really?
He was.
Well, another interesting fact about Lionel Bart, he couldn't read music.
Really?
He couldn't read or write music, and so he would play, because he played by ear, he would play the tunes, and someone else would do all the notations for him.
Wow. Recording studios started to operate on the street, and Regent Sound Studio at number 4 was founded in July 1961 and was frequently used by the Stones manager at the time, Andrew Loog Oldham. And the band actually recorded their first album at Regent Sounds in 1964. Publishers Box and Cox had their offices at number 7. Now their greatest hit was...
A Lovely Bunch of Coconuts.
Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts.
There you go. Old musical stuff I can do. Modern stuff I'm not so good with.
And there's a blue pack at number 9, which is the former location of the Gioconda Cafe. The Gioconda Cafe at number 9 was where musicians socialised, and it's actually where David Bowie recruited his first backing band.
I've heard of him.
Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him, yes.
Session musicians such as Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, of course, who were later in Led Zeppelin. They played in Denmark Street Studios before joining the band. And in 1964, the Kinks recorded You Really Got Me in one of the basement studios on Denmark.
Now, I know a little interesting fact about the Kinks.
Oh, go on.
And that is where we're filming, we are at literally a stone's throw. I'm about a 10, 15-minute walk away from a pub called the Clissold Arms, which is in Fortis Green. And it was there, I think it was December 1960, that Ray and Dave Davis,
yes.
They were the Kinks, were they?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Right. Ray and Dave Davis gave their first performance together.
Wow.
Before they formed the Kinks. I think the Kinks were formed when they moved to Muswell Hill in about 1962. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think.
Get some angry Kinks fans in the comments if we get it wrong.
So we're literally 15-minute walk away from that public house. So.
Wow. Music shops grew in popularity on Denmark Street because there was a decline of music publishers in the 1960s. It declined because those traditional producers lost touch with the changing tastes of the time. So in 1969, the street kind of changed and Top Gear Music opened. People who may be familiar with Denmark Street now know it as the place in London. If you're looking for a guitar or
that's the place to go, isn't it?
It's the place to go. And
yes.
I've bought a couple of guitars from Denmark Street before. So
you actually play a guitar?
I can actually play a guitar. And a little fact that isn't music related, the shop Forbidden Planet, the science fiction comic book shop Forbidden Planet, was established at number 23 in 1978.
They're all over now, aren't they?
Yeah, before it moved to New Oxford Street, and they're all over the place now. They're an international chain. There's one in Bristol, in fact.
And they started in Denmark Street.
They started in Denmark Street. And when Douglas Adams attempted to do a signing for the first Hitchhiker's Guide book, the queue for the shop was so long that Adams thought there was a demonstration taking place.
Well, Douglas Adams is actually buried in another 15 minutes, I think, went the opposite direction from here, Highgate Cemetery.
Yes, he is, yeah.
And people often leave pencils and
Yeah.
gifts for him on his grave. We're going to do.
Need to do a little bit of a pilgrimage to Douglas
We are
Adams.
going to. We are going to do a video about
Yes.
Highgate. We'll try and get in there and do a proper video about Highgate Cemetery.
So that is just I say quick. How quick it is, we'll find out when I've edited the video. But a little quick synopsis of just some of the music history that's taken place in Denmark Street. And as I said, now it's the place to go to buy musical instruments, especially guitars, though, on Denmark Street.
Yes. I use it as a little cut through, but I have to, I do see the guitar shops down there.
If I use it as a little cut through, it becomes quite dangerous because I go, oh, that's nice, oh, that's nice.
I'll buy that, yes. But sadly, like a lot of streets in London, there are darker sides to it. And I'm reminded of a story when I was a young lad that hit the newspapers at the time, and it was 1980, it was August 1980. There was a few little nightclubs at the back of Denmark Street in Denmark Place. One was on the first floor, it's called Rodo's, and it was a salsa club, popular with South American immigrants. And the other one was a Spanish room that was a late night sort of drinking bar, and that was frequented by locals and Irish and Jamaicans. It was 16th of August 1980. A chap called John Thompson, who, for want of a better expression, was a local petty criminal, and he was thrown out of one of these bars early in the evening, but he came back and he poured petrol through the downstairs letterbox and set fire to it. And the resulting arson cost the lives of 37 people that night from 8 different countries, or 8 different nationalities, I should say. He was found, he was convicted of murder, quite rightly as well. And the ironic thing was he died in prison in 2008 on the anniversary of the fire, on the 16th of August. Quite spooky. And of course, another dark side of Denmark Street, there used to be a job centre down there between numbers 1 and 3. That's not the dark side. Job centres, help people find jobs and things like that. But the dark side was one of the clerks there back in the early 1980s was Dennis Nilsson, the serial killer, who lured gay men back to his flat and then butchered them. And yes, we know he had at least 15 victims there, possibly could have been more.
Probably more, yeah.
And the other ironic thing was there was a cooking ware shop down in Denmark Street at the time, and that's where he bought his big cooking pot, and he actually boiled some of his victims. Now, we did say earlier, we were going to tell you why it was called Tin Pan Alley, and I know this one. This is an import from America. So it was early part of the 20th century. I think it was West 28th Street in New York, that was their music publishing place. That's where they had all their music publishers. And I think it was someone in one of the newspapers, the New York Times or something like that, who said the noise walking down there was so many cheap pianos, all playing different tunes, because they were trying to sell different tunes.
Yeah.
So many cheap pianos, all playing different tunes. It was like hitting tin pans in an alleyway. So it became known as Tin Pan Alley in New York.
Right.
And I think it was about 1910, 1911 that somebody used that for Denmark Street in London. And so it's been Tin Pan Alley ever since.
There you go.
And I think they used to, I don't know if the redevelopments have changed it now, but there used to be a sign that said Denmark Street and underneath it had Tin Pan Alley on it. Whether it's still there or not, I don't know. We're going to have to check when we go and do our little films for...
Yes.
But there you are.
There you are. Denmark Street.
That's it. Denmark Street. We promised we'd do it. It's taken us 18 months to do it.
Yes.
But we've finally done Denmark Street. And thank you very much for watching. We do hope you enjoy these videos. And if you do enjoy them, please hit subscribe. And there's a notification bell down below. And if you want to see what we do outside of videos, have a look down below. And you can see all about James's YouTube channel, which is called Last Line Films.
It is. It is.
It is.
It is.
It is. What's my one? That's what... We're going to sort of like do professional there, and we do each other's.
I'm not professional, we know that. If you want to see about Clifford's walking tours of London, then please go to historylord.co.uk.
There we are.
There we are.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.